I'm just gonna say this right up front, even though we should all know it already. My desk is not normally this clean. Here's what it looks like on a normal day. Are we happy now? What is up, people? Dunna here, and in this video we're gonna finish what we started in my tiny YouTube studio setup tour. In the previous video we talked about camera gear, my A-roll setup, and how I color grade, but in this video we're gonna talk about my desk setup, all the computers I use, accessories involved, organization, and I'm gonna tell you how I organize my project files and back them up so that I'm not scared of losing anything when I spill my coffee everywhere. As always, there will be a giant list of links in the description if you want to check out anything after the video, and make sure you go back and watch part 1 to see how I set up and color grade my main A-roll talking head shot. All right, secure the cup and let's get into the tour. Kicking things off with the furniture. At the core of my setup is the autonomous electric sit-stand desk. I believe they're now calling this model the Smart Desk Core, and it's a bit hard to see with everything on it, but I got the bamboo top with the black legs. The controls are pretty simple. You can raise it up, you can lower it down, and you can program your preset heights. I love having a standing desk not only for mobility and getting me standing up, but also because it allows me to tuck my chair under to free up floor space while I'm filming in here. On top of the desk, we have the walnut desk shelf from Grovemade and the matching desk tray. The shelf acts as a way to raise my iMac up to the right height, but it also gives me options for storage underneath and on the tray. Off to the right side, I've got the Grovemade walnut iPad stand and headphone stand to match the shelf. Also from Grovemade, I've got the extra large wool mat in dark gray, and on top of that, I've got their medium matte desk pad in black. Aesthetically, it's really nice to have all those matching pieces, and Grovemade has beautiful quality as well. I also managed to find this single felt drawer organizer just on Amazon that I keep under the shelf, and it comes very close to matching the Grovemade stuff. Generally, I just use it for USB cables and stuff that I might regularly use but want to kind of tuck away. Beside the desk, I have the IKEA Alex drawer unit in a dark gray. Honestly, this did start out with some level of organization, but it's devolved into being a bit of a catch-all for receipts and documents and just other stuff that I don't want to look at. On top of those drawers, I have a Mosiso laptop stand that I use to hold my laptop and iPad when I'm not using them. It has adjustable widths for different devices, and it's quite heavy duty, so I'm not worried about it falling over or anything like that. Finally, in the furniture category, I have a new Laxi laptop stand because, as we'll find out soon, I got a new MacBook Pro and I was sure it was going to replace my iMac completely, but it didn't quite work out that way yet. With that said, let's talk about computers and electronics. The main machine at my desk for the past couple of years is a 2020 27-inch 5K Retina display iMac. It has the 3.8 GHz 8-core Intel i7 CPU, 128 GB of memory, third-party memory of course, and the AMD Radeon Pro 5700 16 GB graphics processor. I've been super happy with this computer. It's basically maxed out for what you could get at the time, and it did really well when I started working more from home and didn't necessarily need a laptop to be able to be mobile with my editing. That being said, there are a few things that are a little bit tricky with it. While the screen is big and beautiful, I do have trouble getting it properly calibrated for my editing and color grading. After countless hours of searching the internet, I found that I'm not the only one in this situation. So generally, I try to use the iMac monitor as my what everyone else is going to see monitor. But I've also got the iMac hooked up to a secondary monitor, which is the ViewSonic VP2785 4K 27-inch display. This monitor has been great for me. It covers 100% Adobe RGB colors, and it seems to work really well with my regular calibration tools. I have it plugged in using its USB-C connection, which is awesome to have, and it's mounted on the desk with a VESA mount monitor arm, so I can move it around a bit if I want to. I also sometimes use my iPad as a third display on the stand to the right. The iPad is a second generation 11-inch iPad Pro with 256 GB of storage. When I bought it, I'll admit that I thought it was going to revolutionize my organization and my workflow. And it didn't. But it is quite handy for a couple of things. Like I mentioned, I can use Apple Sidecar and use it as a third monitor. This can be great for keeping a Discord or Slack window up while I work, or for having my color grading scopes up without taking up real estate on the main two screens. The other thing is that I love to physically write out certain things because I find that it helps me to really solidify and remember them in my mind. But if I write those things in a notebook and I ever want to find them again, it's nearly impossible. So I use the iPad and an app called Good Notes to write notes, ideas, daily task lists, and stuff like that, and I'll often just leave my daily task list up in front of me on the iPad so that I'm constantly reminded if I catch myself getting distracted, which happens often. As for my keyboard and mouse, I use a Logitech Craft keyboard. I really thought I was gonna love the fancy knob on it, but I'll be honest, I rarely use it, so the MX keys would have been fine. And my mouse is a Kensington Expert Mouse trackball. I've been using Kensington trackballs for 15 years or so. It's a pretty common thing in the audio engineering world, and I still like it even though I'm doing more visual stuff now. I also use the Monogram Creative Console as a customized mini console for my photo and video work. I have it set up for ease of use with both Capture One and DaVinci Resolve, and it's nice to have those dedicated controls for those programs. It's completely customizable and it's modular, so if I ever want to add more units or more buttons or more knobs onto it, I can totally do that. Now, earlier I mentioned my new MacBook Pro that was supposed to replace my iMac. This is the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. It's got 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU with 64 gigabytes of unified memory and 2 terabytes of internal storage, and this thing absolutely rips. I have been loving being back on a laptop again, being able to work from the couch and stuff, and as I start to travel more again, it's going to be so handy. And when I am at home, I can toss the MacBook Pro onto the laptop stand, plug it all in with one cable, and basically it can replace the iMac. But what I found out really quickly is that the video and photo software companies were pretty fast to support the Apple Silicon chips and the new operating system, but the audio world, not so much. Hopefully that'll get updated soon and I can look at selling the iMac, but for now I'll be holding on to it primarily to do my audio work. Speaking of which, the audio interface that I have on my desk is the Focusrite 4i4 3rd generation. It has 2 mic inputs, 2 line inputs, 4 outputs, and MIDI in and out. So there's more than enough for what I can do in this room anyway. It's bus powered and USB-C compatible. It's not the fanciest or most expensive interface, but I've been using Focusrite products for a long time. I like how their preamps sound and I trust their quality. When I need to do voiceover work or if I'm doing meetings or live streams, I have the Shure SM7B on a Rode PSA-1 mic arm attached to my desk. The Shure SM7B is a notoriously quiet microphone, so I'm running it through a cloud lifter that boosts the signal going into the interface. All that being said, I already had the Shure SM7B and the cloud lifter for my audio work. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative for a similar workflow, check out the Rode Pod Mic. It's pretty great and it's significantly less expensive. When I'm producing music here, I've got the Impact GX61 MIDI keyboard, which was literally just the cheapest low-profile 61-key keyboard that I could find on Amazon that didn't look like complete garbage, and it's great. It works for what I need it to do. And finally, in the audio department, I have my trusty Audio-Technica ATH M50 headphones that I've had for probably 12 years now. I have to keep replacing the ear cups because I keep wearing them out. They sound great and they're pretty fantastic for doing all my music work here. In order to plug all of this stuff into my computer, I have a few things from Otherworld Computing that are key to my setup. The first being the OWC Thunderbolt 4 hub. It's super simple. You plug in a Thunderbolt 4 USB-C connection and it splits out to give you 3 more on the back and 1 USB 3.2 connection on the front via USB-A. Right beneath that, I have the OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock. I do believe that they've updated this since I got it, but it plugs in again using Thunderbolt 3 over USB-C. It gives you another Thunderbolt 3 port, 5 USB-A ports, another USB-C port on the front, headphone output, super fast UHS-2 SD card reader, gigabit Ethernet, and a mini display port for a monitor. It's a lot, and it makes my life so much easier to have everything right there in one little unit. The only downside to the hub and the dock is that because they've got ports on the front and back for accessibility, I find it kind of hard to know what the best way to set them up is. There's always going to be cables coming out in a way that I don't want them to, and it can look kind of ugly, but they're super functional. Powering everything on the desk, I have a couple of power bars that I've used Velcro to attach to the bottom of the desk so that when I raise and lower it, there's only the cable coming from the power bars that needs enough slack to move up and down. And on the left-hand side of my desk, I have a 3-outlet power strip with the Zenger Passport Pro 2 plugged in. This has 3 USB-A ports and 2 USB-C ports that I keep an assortment of cables plugged in, ready to charge things like my phone, my watch, any small devices that I can plug in and set on my desk, all conveniently cable managed with a clamp. But the most important piece of electronics on my whole desk is my Ember mug. It's Bluetooth controlled, and it keeps my coffee at the perfect 57 degrees for optimal securing of the cup. Then of course, we have the most confusing and potentially frustrating part of the whole process, digital organization. How do you store files? How do you back them up? How do you make sure that you're safe in the worst case scenario? And I want to show you my folder structure for new projects and how I organize it because I feel like it might save you some time. First of all, I keep all my working files on external drives. My computers hold the operating system, applications, plugins, and all that kind of stuff, but my projects and project files live on drives that I can take with me and plug into whichever computer I happen to be working on. So my current working drives, the ones with any projects that I'm currently working on, are the OWC Envoy Pro FX 2TB for YouTube and photo work, and for my audio work, I'm working off the OWC Electron 1TB. These 2 drives are ridiculously fast. They're crush-proof, they're water-resistant, drop-proof, and pretty darn small, especially the Electron. Once I'm done with a project, I put all the files onto a backup drive that holds my files for the year. Sitting on my drawer unit is the OWC Thunder Bay 4. This is basically a hard drive enclosure that allows me to put 4 different drives in there. You can do fancy RAID things with it, but I'm just using it to house 4 separate drives. At the start of every year, I buy 2 identical 12TB drives. One becomes my main drive for the year, and the other one becomes a backup of that drive. I use a program called Carbon Copy Cloner to regularly copy anything from the main one over to the backup. So basically, I have 2 copies of everything from every year just in case the main hard drive from that year fails for some reason. But I can hear you all typing in the comments now, are all your backups on site? What if your house burns down? Well, don't fret. I also keep cloud backups using a service called Backblaze. So everything that I might need and more is stored in the cloud, and I can restore the backups if anything happens. One thing that I've been using for years now that I think might be helpful for people is a specific folder structure for all of my new projects. This saves me time from having to manually create common folders for each new project. I've called my default folders 01 project template folders so that alphabetically it shows up at the top. Inside this folder, I have 6 more folders: audio, video, exports, photos, graphics, and thumbnail. For every project, all I do is copy and paste that folder into wherever I want it to be, usually either my projects folder or my YouTube videos folder. I'll rename that new main folder with the name of the project and copy that name onto my clipboard. Then I highlight all the folders inside, right-click, hit rename, make sure that I'm on add text and before name, then I paste the name of the project. When I click OK, all of the folders inside will get the title of the project on them. Then I specifically copy the name of the photos folder and go to Capture One. There are already 4 default folders in here that Capture One would normally create if I hadn't already: Capture, Output, Selects, and Trash. I create a new session in Capture One and paste the name of that folder. Make sure I choose the same location that folder already exists, and Capture will see that it's already there as well as all the folders inside, and just use them as they are. The only thing that it actually adds into that folder is the new session file. Then I can dump all my photos into the Capture folder and they'll magically pop up into Capture One for me. Other than that, I sometimes will create subfolders in the video folder for different cameras or to differentiate A-roll and B-roll if I need to, but that all kind of happens on a project-to-project basis. And that's it. That's my desk setup tour and my digital organization. As always, I want to hear from you. Do you have a similar setup or something way different? Let me know down in the comments, and on your way down there, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.